that glove you're wearing there, is that anything, you know, is that titanium, super duper?
No, I think that's why I chose this one, because this is, you could just use a regular kitchen glove, but this is just one of those cheap latex gloves. It doesn't take much to create a little barrier.
So the little pokey stingers on the nettles, they won't penetrate that.
No, they aren't. I'm not getting any penetration at all on this one. I'm going to show you a traditional salmon soup that I have made over the years to show people.
Now, when some people say traditional, they're talking about my grandma did this, but you're talking about, since it's you, Heidi Bohan,
yeah,
you're talking about people 1,000 years ago here in the Pacific Northwest.
Or, you know, yeah. So it's Pacific Northwest focused. And so, like, here's one I'm going to screen out, and I'm going to try to remember to pick that up before I get done. So what I am going to do here is just cut these into, I like to get the main stock off because I feel like that gets a little tough, although when you're making a soup, that can tend to cook down. But if you dry these later, that stock just never really seems to reconstitute if you do put it in a soup again.
So you keep just the leaves, no stems at all?
Well, I'm keeping stem up here.
Okay.
You know, so that's succulent enough.
The very tender stems.
Yeah. So what I've got here that's really unusual, this is not common to have access to, but I just came from a First Roots feast down at Warm Springs Reservation. So they let people take leftovers, and I brought some of these home to share. So this is Domation, which is, and this is actually Domation acus. And this was, I believe, I was going to do a little more research and make sure that's the species on this one. But it's one of the many Dominations, also called biscuit root. This is bitter root. And this one is one that's a very important one east of the mountains in Washington all the way into Montana. And so this has been prepared with a little bit of salmon. It came out. These have all been pre-cooked for that feast. Then this is camas here. And these, I don't have many bulbs of the camas from this gathering. Didn't seem like they had quite as many as they did the coos. And then these are some camas that I prepared and roasted last year. Same exact species, but in the roasting or steaming in pit for 36 hours or so, they change color. And they get much sweeter. This is much sweeter. This is a little blander tasting. So then I have some salmon. It's alder smoked salmon. This is some seaweeds. These are some seaweeds I gathered. This is some commercial seaweed. Then we have our nettle. And then I've got, there are plenty of wild onions. I'm new at this house, so I don't have my wild onion patch established, so I'm just using some from the store. And then I have these out here for people that don't have this kind of access. Parsnip is a really great counterpart to these. It has the same sort of complex carbohydrates and an interesting flavor. And then this is the Ozette potato, which is considered a traditional potato. The macaw used to grow it and raise it. So I like to use some. I also use lily corms and a few other things that if I don't have access to these and I want to show people a traditional soup, this is what I might put together. So I'm going to let seaweed do a fair amount of the flavoring in this, and the seaweed also helps thicken the water itself. And again, you really need to get some guidance when you're harvesting these, because some of these have very toxic counterparts, so you need to know what you're harvesting. But this is lady fern fiddlehead, so we're going to go ahead and add these to the soup, and I'll just clean. You don't have to take the brown things off, it's just more aesthetically pleasing. They don't really have a flavor that's a problem. So we'll be adding these in. And then these are cow parsnip shoots, also called Indian celery. But this one is one you definitely want to know about. Don't go harvesting this on your own. But this is a very important traditional food. And we're going to be peeling off the outer skin because it's phytotoxic. And if you were smelling this, you could smell a very strong, it's almost like a peppery, it's hard to describe the flavor that this is. But we'll add this in. I'll probably add some interesting flavor to the soup. So these shoots right here, it's a little late, honestly. I like to get these before these have started to form up their pollen heads so much. This is the male sprout of a horsetail. But I wanted to get these, and these are still going to be palatable. Let me taste these actually and see. Yeah. So, all right, so our soup's probably getting some flavor, and I added some the salmon skin into it to try to help get a nice little stock going here.
All right, what do you got there?
So this is dried nettle shoots that's probably 3 or 4 years old even. I don't know, could be less, but, and so I've just taken those, you know, the ones that we were cutting earlier, and just let them dry.
So there's the leaves, there's the fresh green leaves, and then what would you do to dry them?
I keep them in that paper bag like I was describing earlier, and let them just dry in a paper bag. You know, you could spread them out on a drying rack or something, but paper bags to me are the best. And then I'll come through and cut off just the tight little cluster, just like I did when I was preparing. And then these are some of the outer leaves. And so I very often add those to soups just on my own. You know, during the day I often make a soup.
So why would you add dried nettles to soups willy-nilly, especially when you got some fresh nettles over there?
Well, just because I was demoing them to you and I had them in my hands, so I thought I'd just show that. Yeah, but that's how you would add them in. You don't have to have fresh nettle, and the stinger is gone. You know, they're real handleable.
So once they dry, the stinger's gone.
The stinger's gone. Yeah.
Okay.
This might not all be in the same place. Got quite a combination of foods in here. Doesn't that look healthy?
All right, here goes the first taste. It's too hot?
So the bitter root's kind of like noodles. Kind of neat.
So it's good?
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, it's so good.
All right, so of course, you know,
Lots of different textures.
the nettly aspect is what we're really shooting for here. So can the nettles stand out? The big thing is when you put them in your mouth, do they sting inside of your mouth?
No.
No sting?
No sting.
But in any event, there's a chemical in nettle that will actually help release the toxins that our body has accumulated through the winter eating stored foods, and helps us cleanse the digestive tract.
If you like this sort of thing, come on out to the forums at permies.com, where we talk about eating wild foods, homesteading, and permaculture all the time.